There's a lot of confusion about how much reformer Pilates instructors actually earn. If you think you're going to be earning £90 an hour working full time, you're wrong. But if you think you can't earn good money being new to the industry, you're also wrong. A fair starting rate in London is £35 an hour for new instructors. Now, I've seen places that pay less and I've seen places that pay more. So in this video, we're going to look at what Pilates instructors earn at different stages, why £35 per class isn't £35 per hour of work, and what studios look at for increasing your rates. So let's rewind a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I started. I actually started teaching for free. And a lot of instructors I know, they also started teaching for free. This doesn't necessarily have to mean teaching Pilates. In my case, I was teaching trampolining and dancing for years, but coaching people, cueing, being aware of the body, and having a class structure are all skills that take a lot of practice, and it's good to get the reps in. Does this mean you have to do it to start on your £35 rate? Absolutely not. But just like anything, the more you practice, the better you're going to get. Also, to those of you who are thinking, oh, she's chatting shit, I've seen it like £25. I would just double check that one, is this in London? And two, is that actually for reformer Pilates? Because I know that a lot of other aspects of fitness are paying more like £25 an hour. Reformer Pilates and comprehensive Pilates are paying a little bit more. I don't know why. Maybe because we're better. We're just the cool ones. No, I'm joking. Okay, back on track. So £35 an hour is more or less your starting rate. Again, this doesn't mean that less than that or more than that doesn't exist. This is just what I've seen. So that's the starting rate. What would then be the highest rate? Well, I mean, we're not going to talk about privates because that's a little bit different. But in terms of your group fitness classes, I've seen up to about £100. We're not going to focus on getting your rates up that high right now, but you can probably get it up to the 40, 50 mark within a couple of years. Not all studios are going to be able to afford more than about 40 or £50. So some studios are going to have payment tiers. So your bigger brands are going to have it clearly defined what the rates vary to. And this is in the realm of about £35 to £50 on average at big gyms or big studios or like your chains. I, of course, don't have the figures for all of the studios, but this is just what I've seen through work experience, through talking to other people, as well as what's posted on Indeed, LinkedIn. I'm always trying to stay up to date with studios that are recruiting and what they're paying because I'm nosy. So 35 to 50 is where most instructors are going to sit. Your starting rate is 35. There are going to be some studios that cannot exceed much more than that. I was covering at a studio that were paying £35. And then I said, sorry, I'm only taking classes that pay me 40 or more. And they said, sorry, we're too small. We don't have that budget. So studios, some studios just have a hard ceiling on what they can afford. These are going to be your boutique independent studios. So the studios that have just one of them and have maybe like 6 or 7 reformers and they don't do anything else. Because if you think about it, if they're paying 20 to £30, the studio's got to pay you. They've got to pay their overheads. They've got to pay themselves, things like reception. They've got to pay bills, whatever. That doesn't leave a lot to pay you with. And the fact that if they've got 6 beds, they might not be filling each and every bed on every single class. Some studios will have a starting rate like £35, but then also offer commission per head. I haven't seen this loads in London. It does exist. I think it's quite common in the US from what I've heard, but I haven't actually lived over in the US. And they'll pay you maybe like, I don't know, £35 plus £1 or £2 per extra person above like 2, 3 that show up. Providing the studio has the budget to pay you more, what are they going to look at? So one of the biggest things they're going to look at is professionalism. Are you on time? Are you reliable? Do you communicate well with them? Even though they listen to client feedback about you as an instructor. So for example, if they repeatedly hear that the class is scattered and the teacher doesn't know what they're talking about, they will probably flag it with you. That's something that's far easier for them to support you with than unreliability. The teaching or class experience is far more subjective than professionalism is. They're going to look at, have you done any continual education? So have you been continuing to educate yourself and make yourself better? And then they are also going to look at things like class retention, class returns, people, are they booking onto your classes? How full are your classes? Most studios will factor in the time of day. Obviously, it's harder to fill a class on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. than it is on a Saturday at 10 a.m. So this does go into that. But ultimately, the more money they make, the more money they can give you. So while £35 per hour is your starting rate is the ideal, is what's accepted, and anything under that is deemed a little bit meh. Sometimes we got to take the job at McDonald's, the metaphorical Pilates McDonald's. I recently saw Virgin advertising for instructors for £25 per hour. If you can quit whenever, just take it. You get the experience and then you can just quit as soon as you've got studios paying you fairly. It will give you the reps, it will give you the experience. It's always easier to find work once you're already in work. It just seems to be a categorical law of the universe. I think I've never recruited before actually, but if I were to recruit, I would actually take it as a green flag in someone if they're already working at studios versus, even if it's only been for a few weeks, versus someone who's still trying to get their first job. It is the way of the world. It's just like, okay, this person is obviously good enough for this studio. They're good enough for us. It's like dating, isn't it? The moment you start dating someone, suddenly you become really attractive to everyone else. So you can take the Virgin job. I'm not against them categorically paying so little, because I did see that they also recruit mat instructors to teach reformer. So they will actually train you up in a concept. So yes, while they're paying you less, they're also giving you something, which is the training. I don't actually know how their contract looks. If they train you up in their concept, how long you're expected to stay there. But say you've just qualified in mat, what a good way to make sure that you've got that experience. So once you've qualified from your reformer, you can step straight into other studios. It also shows that you actually want to work in the industry. If it's your first job, how do they know that you like it? You might start getting to teaching in real life and hate it. It's quite common, actually. A lot of people do their certs and then kind of quit straight away, or maybe don't even teach. So like if you're already teaching at another studio, it kind of shows willingness and that you're not wearing rose-tinted goggles about the professionalism side and stuff like that. Yeah. So I know there's other studios that pay around £32, whatever. Again, if it's close to you, if it's giving you experience and you're not tied to them for like a year, then I don't see why not. Like just go there for a few months. When somewhere offers you better, you either ask them for a raise or you just leave and go to the places that pays you better. Why not? It's how it works in every career, not just Pilates. Okay. And then finally, if you are being paid £35 per class, this does not mean that your pay is £35 an hour. We can't forget all of the work that goes on in between the classes, the invoicing, the accounting, and the fact that, okay, your class starts at 5, you've got to be there 15 minutes before. And if that's 3 blocks twice a day, that adds up to 30 minutes extra being there before and 30 minutes being there after. So it's an extra hour per day if you're doing 2 blocks. When we think, oh, £35 an hour, I can do 40 hours a week. I did 40 hours at corporate. Probably not. I've tried it. I wouldn't recommend it. And actually, when I did try doing, I think my highest week was 57 hours. Don't ask me how. Sure, I earned a lot that week, but that month I worked like an absolute maniac. But then my costs that month were so high. I spent that month £600 on Ubers. I could have just like not worked those hours and not taken Ubers. So when you start working a certain amount of hours, there is this kind of threshold where it actually starts to not be worth the time. You might as well just be resting, because you end up starting to spend way more to sustain your energy to be able to cope with the classes. You can't just lay there in your dressing gown and kind of work from home and half be logged into your meeting. You've got to show up. You've got to be present. And that means that you're going to end up spending more money on travel, more money on food. You're going to be paying for yourselves like for little treats. I don't care how disciplined you are. The amount of coffees and matches and little treats that you have to get yourself through so that you don't lose the will to live and quit your job just goes up a lot. As a freelancer, it's always, of course, nice to have the possibility, if you are in a financial pinch, to amp it up. Of course, overall, I earned more that month than any other month, and I saved a lot more, even though I was spending a lot more. But I wouldn't do that to myself month in, month out. I just needed money. I got the money. And I wouldn't recommend it as a sustainable lifestyle. So my biggest advice to you, if you are a new instructor, is just start getting the work. You are not locked into your starting rate. You can expect and aim for £35 an hour, but if you've got to take less to start, just do it. You're not locked into it. You can move. Focus on trying to make yourself more valuable, getting the client reviews, forming the relationship with the studios, having it on your CV, doing the CPDs, networking, do it all. This industry can pay very well. And if you're focused on making yourself better, it won't take you as long as you think to get there. You're not behind, you're just at the beginning.